This Ro-Flo maintenance video goes through a basic rotor blade change for a Ro-Flo low-pressure compressor. Prior to starting any work on the compressor, please note the following points for safety. Be sure the equipment is de-energized, following the proper lockout-tagout procedures. Isolate the compressor from the process. Drain the coolant from the compressor. Be sure the work is being done by a qualified mechanic with the proper tools and personal protection equipment. The entire blade change procedure is done here at the non-drive end of the compressor. This procedure requires only a few hand tools, including wrenches, a torque wrench, a 9/16 hex wrench, 2 wires to compress the seal rings, and a small prying tool. Before beginning the blade change, a bearing inspection can easily be done by removing the end cover. The end cover has an O-ring, so some force may be required to remove. Hold the end cover when removing the bolt so it does not fall when the O-ring suddenly releases. A small amount of oil is expected to leak from the cylinder head. With the end cover removed, you can visually inspect the bearing rollers, outer race, and oil condition. The end cover O-ring is part of the blade change kit and should be replaced. The end cover should be reinstalled prior to removing the cylinder head to prevent the bearing from falling. As you are removing the cylinder head stud nuts, in order to remove the head, note the eccentric orientation of the head. This will be important for reassembly. Use the hex head wrench to turn the jacking bolts to separate the head from the cylinder. The head should be removed as evenly as possible to avoid breaking the dowel pins, which are brittle by design to protect the compressor. The internal components can be seen as the cylinder head moves out. When a cylinder head has cleared the dowel pins, lifting equipment can be used to remove the head. A threaded hole is available on every cylinder head for a properly sized lifting eye. Some models have a lubrication port next to the lifting hole. Be sure to use the correct connection. It is recommended that the jacking bolts be turned back out to their original position at this time. Forgetting to do so will prevent the head from being reinstalled. With the cylinder head removed, the inner parts of the compressor are visible. The bearing's inner race can be inspected for damage. Look for corrosion, erosion, or contamination in the cylinder and cylinder head coolant jackets. Check the dowel pins for fracture. The gaskets should always be replaced when the head is removed. The gaskets should be inspected for signs of leaks and brittleness from excessive heat. These characteristics are indicators of potential problems. The seal ring should also be replaced any time the head is removed. The existing seal rings can be removed by spreading them apart and sliding them off the shaft. Here again, the rings should be inspected for brittleness and excessive wear, which can be indicators of bigger issues. Looking into the compression chamber, a large portion of the rotor and cylinder bore can be visually inspected for unusual wear or damage. Now we will remove and inspect blades for wear, damage, and contamination. Note that the rotor will have to be turned to remove the bottom 2 blades. The width and thickness of the blade can be measured and compared against the blade wear limit charts on page 23 of the Ro-Flo instruction manual. Whether replacing the existing blades or installing new blades, they should be coated in clean oil before installation. If the existing blades are being reused, they should be installed in the same orientation as they were removed. New blades can be installed in any orientation. New seal rings should also be coated with clean oil, installed by slightly spreading them apart and sliding them onto the bearing spacing ring. To begin the reassembly process, install a new gasket over the studs and against the cylinder. Note that some of the gaskets have two larger holes 180 degrees apart. The gaskets are designed to be installed dry. Using oil or gasket sealing products will prevent the cylinder head from being installed properly. Both seal rings must be constricted using a wire or a snare in order to fit inside the cylinder head seal ring bore. Using lifting equipment, the head can be placed on the studs. Make sure to install it in the correct orientation. Slide the head up to the first seal ring. Care must be taken, even with the seal rings constricted, to prevent damage by sliding the head onto the edge of the seal ring. Once the outer seal ring is partially captured inside of the seal ring bore without binding the snare can be removed. Repeat this process for the second seal ring after sliding the cylinder head up to the second snare. Note that the head may need to be lifted slightly during this portion of the reassembly process to align the holes with the dowel pins. When several stud threads protrude through the stud holes, stud nuts can be installed to draw the head into place. Using a crossing pattern, the nuts can be tightened to the specified torque. When finished, check for even metal-to-metal contact between the cylinder and cylinder head. This concludes the Ro-Flo training video. Please check out the other training videos on our website, and remember that performing routine maintenance on your Ro-Flo compressor will keep it operating smoothly for years to come.